everyone. I wanted to follow up on the video from last week. I believe God does have an amazing adventure for each of you. But in order to step into that adventure, you have to make a choice. You see, we can choose to step into the role He's called us to, or we can hold back because of fear, shame, or even pride. The first thing we need to do is decide that no matter what, we will take the next step in God's adventure. But here's the thing. The adventure won't always look the way we think it should. God's ways are so different than ours. If you're in full-time ministry, you might expect a lot of results. You might think people will flock to your church, or you'll see big numbers. I'm not saying that can't happen, but remember, our focus has to be on Jesus and doing exactly what He has called us to do each day, no matter the visible results. And if you're not in full-time ministry, I want to say this: don't ever underestimate your role. God still has His hand on your life. Stepping into God's adventure is just as important as the greatest missionary in history. Your role matters as much as people like David Livingston, D.L. Moody, or Hudson Taylor. Why? Because God chose them for their role, and He chose you for yours. The real question is, will you choose to keep stepping into the adventure He has for you? A couple weeks ago, I was talking to someone about the prophet Jeremiah. Jeremiah served God faithfully his whole life, but what did he have to show for it? We don't even know how he died. He kind of just disappeared when the Israelites fled to Egypt, even though God had told him not to go. He was imprisoned. He was tortured. Yet Jeremiah kept preaching God's word. It burned inside of him, and he just couldn't keep it in. Looking at his life, we might ask, why did God put him through all of that? Why didn't God show him a lot of visible results? Jeremiah's life may have looked more like a misadventure than a grand success, but one thing we do know, he kept obeying. He kept taking the next step that God told him to take. And let's be real, your adventure might look more like a misadventure at times. You might wonder, what in the world happened to all of my dreams? What in the world happened to the desires that I had to serve God? Does God not see what I'm going through? I thought life was supposed to be good. I thought it was supposed to be victorious. And now it feels like I'm farther away than ever. You might ask, did I make the wrong choice? I don't have all the answers to your specific questions. But what I can tell you is this. God didn't write His story around you. He wrote us into His great story. The world doesn't revolve around you. And honestly, that's a huge encouragement. At least it is to me. God had you specifically in mind when He set the world in motion. He named you and wrote you into His adventure. Yes, we're just a small part of what God has been doing throughout history. But you and I have an irreplaceable role that no one else can fill. You are unique. You are special. And today is your day to step into that role. If you do, one day you'll look back with 2020 vision and you'll be absolutely amazed at how God orchestrated everything. Not just for His great glory, but also for your good too. All right, here is the million-dollar question. How do you step into God's role for your life? How does it work? Now, that's a big question, and honestly, way too big a question to answer in just this video. But I do promise it's simple enough for anyone to start. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one where we'll dive deeper into this. And if this video encouraged you, please share it with your friends and family so they can be encouraged too. And oh, by the way, I am working on hitting 100 subscribers by the end of March. So that would be a great help if you could help me reach that goal. And stay tuned for the next video where we'll talk about how it's in the day-to-day life that God brings us into His adventure, not just the mountaintop experiences.